Hello, today I have another drum machine, not the TB303, just the t-shirt, but I've actually picked up the Soundmaster Memory Rhythm SR-88. This is a 4 analog voice drum machine. I think it's very early 80s, but yeah, saw it on the boot sale and got all excited and lifted the lid, and there's the operating manual and the sample rhythm writing and examples and circuit board. And I noticed there's a black wire hanging off it, so that's come apart, and yeah, it looks like the power connector, sort of like a 9-volt power. Well, there you go, that's another bit falling off now. Right, it looks like that would need one of these sort of 9-volt power connector things that would go onto a plastic clip that would hold 4 AA batteries. Other than that, the board sort of looks okay. But the important thing is the face of it, the paintwork. There's no scratches or anything on there. It's in pretty good condition. All the buttons click nicely, and there's the base plate. So for £1, which I think is reasonably good, I bought it. So I'm just going to try and get it repaired and see if that's probably all it might need to get it working, and if not, look a little bit deeper into it, but see if I can get it going anyway. So here goes. First of all, we need a 9-volt power connector. Now, I've already shown this in one of the previous videos, but sometimes when you can't get these buttons off because they're so stiff, you can just get any old card and cut a sort of shape out of it like so, and slot it underneath the knob, button, whatever you wish to call it, and then with a couple of tools, a couple of knives or whatever you've got handy, you can prise it enough to pull it off, and then that way you're not going to scratch the paintwork on any of your vintage gear. So now those are off, I'll just take all the nuts off, because obviously all this, well, possibly has to come apart before I can dismantle the entire thing. Same again here. I don't want to scratch the paintwork, even though that's going to be underneath the knob there. I still want to keep it as tidy as possible. Oh, well, that one doesn't work, does it? Maybe like so. There you go. And we're in. Right. So there's the internal workings of the Memory Rhythm SR-88. All analog drum sounds going off there. It looks neat and tidy for something that was probably made in the very early 80s. But anyway, the thing I'm going to do here is just clean this area up where the power goes in and solder on a new connector, and then just try it, and that's probably, hopefully, going to be all it needs. Well, fingers crossed anyway. Right, so I very easily pulled that last wire off, and now just clear up the holes, the solder holes here. Ready for a new connector. These can be a little bit brutal on some old gear, because you can actually lift the track up off the board, but that doesn't look too bad. I'll just make that hole a bit better there. let's power this thing up. Which way up was it? That way up. Yeah, so obviously to power this up, you can use one of these connectors and just reverse it and snap it together. There you go. Right, 6 volts. I've got 6 volts now coming through these two connectors, and one thing to realise is if you connect two of these sort of 9-volt battery clip things together, whatever you've got coming in this end is reversed. So your positive wire here is actually the black wire on this side, because these connectors are reversing them, obviously. So, you know, a little bit of useful information probably. Now, let's put 6 volts in and see what happens. All we've got on here is one little LED, which I expect flashes away with the tempo. So, we'll turn that on. And nothing's happening. Press start. And nothing's happening. Now, before I go mad searching what's wrong here, some of these drum machines only work when you plug a jack plug in. So let's plug a jack plug in and press start again. Right, there we go. We have a tempo light now flashing away there. So I'm going to put this back in its case and try it through an amplifier, see what it sounds like, if it sounds at all. That's all back together now. Being as I haven't got this battery connector, what I'm going to do is try the power supply input on the top. So, get one of these. That should be the one. Yes. Set for 6 volts. And got to plug in a jack in the output socket there, and then switch on, put it into play, and the little LED's working. Right, I've just got this running through a guitar amplifier, so I have to excuse the quality of this audio, sorry about that. Right, so we go to right. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? Apparently what you have to do, according to the instructions, is write everything in 16 steps. So there's your note and there's your rest. It's in the right mode, so if I go to the bass drum and we say space, hit, space, space, space. So that's 16. And then we go to the snare drum and let's say we're going to put that, and then a space for 4 measures. Then go to the hi-hat. And then lots of cymbal at the end of the 16 steps. So yikes, sounds terrible. But when you go into the play, I can't hear this snare there. Oh yeah, it sounds really cheesy and horrible. This, let me just turn that down a moment. This thing has got a pretty poor memory. I've noticed on the bottom here, there's a little label and it says, when you stop the switch with the foot switch connected, the memory sometimes disappear. And it also says that even when you've got the jack plug in, you should always have batteries in there. Because that's what it relies on to hold the memories that you've put in. This fill-in switch I'm not too sure what that's doing. I expect it will do a fill-in every 4 measures or whatever. Just guessing now. Because like normal, I don't really read destruction manuals if I can help it. But yeah, it makes a noise. It works. Now, I've looked at a couple of videos on YouTube, and some people put extra little variable potentiometers and things on these and mod them and get some interesting sounds out of them. But bearing in mind that this is early 1980s, I wouldn't have expected much more than that. I mean, on the box here it says £65. I don't know if that's the original cost of buying one of these in the early 80s, but £65 was quite a lot of money. But it sort of works, and it cost £1, and that's all it's about worth to me, actually. So I'll stick this on the shelf, maybe throw it on eBay one day and sell it off, because it's not really for me. But it works now. All it needed was that little connector. And obviously you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go out into the cold and the damp and trawl around lots of car boot sales around the south of England in the hope of finding these bits and pieces. But anyway, I hope you found that interesting, and it's another thing fixed. So all the best. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up, because it does help with my video searches, and I'll get looking into the next item for another video shortly. All the best. Thank you.